Hi, welcome to Virtual CB1A. This is Miss Rena. For this video discussion, we are going to talk about Section 1.8, Inflation Accounting at Interest Accumulation. So before we start, let's review the definition of inflation. So, sa mga dati nyong subjects sa economics or social studies, I think na-discuss nyo to. So, when we say inflation, it refers to the rise in prices of most goods and services of daily or common use. For example, yung increase in the price of food, increase in the price of clothing, basic commodities, increase in the price of transport or electricity, consumption, and so on. So, ang inflation, it measures the average price change in a certain set of commodities and services over a certain period of time. So, ngayon, ang idea natin, start natin siya dun sa example para ma-establish natin yung concept. So, a man owns an investment portfolio. Last year, the portfolio earned a return of 3.25%. However, last year's inflation rate was around 2%. So, the man wants to determine the real return he earned from his portfolio. So, look at this example. Nag-invest ka, for example, ng 10,000. Kasi you are targeting to buy a certain gadget worth 11,000 at the end of the term. So, itong 10,000, iniwan mo siya for 1 year, hoping that it will grow to 11,000. And at the end of year, for example, year 2020 mo to ininvest, year 2021, na-achieve mo talaga si 11,000. But, imbis na mabili mo yung gadget na bibilin mo dapat, for example, phone or tablet yung bibilin mo, it is already 13,000 now, 2021. So, nagkaroon ng inflation, tumaas yung cost nung gadget. So, kung noon mo pa iniwan yung 10,000 and then you just added 1,000, sana na-purchase mo to for the cost of 11,000 lang, di ba? Pero nag-intay ka ng isang taon na nag-lead to the increase of prices of basic commodities. So, hindi mo na nabili ito using the original amount, 11 na tinarget mo nung year na yon. So, yun yung idea ng inflation. Yun yung pagtaas ng prices ng mga basic commodities. So, dito, nag-invest siya, 3.25%. Yes, nag-gain siya ng 3.25%. Pero, dahil nagtaas yung presyo ng mga bilihin, hindi niya pwedeng i-base lang dun sa 3.25% yung return na na-earn niya. Kasi, nagkaroon ng inflation na 2%. So, what is the real return from the amount that he earned from his portfolio? Isa pang example, 1,000 pesos before can get you a lot of things back in, say for example, year 2000, right? But now, 1,000 pesos, sobrang konti na nung mabibili mo ng year 2021, 20 years after. So, even though nag-gain ng interest yung money mo before, you cannot say that it earned a certain amount of interest, for example, 3.25, dahil bumababa na yung value ng pera or tumataas na yung value ng mga bilihin. So, I hope I was able to make this part clear. So, this time, we are going to compute for the real return earned from certain investments. So, kung nag-accumulate yung interest doon sa account mo, sulit pa rin ba yung nakuha mong interest kung papasukan na natin siya ng rate of inflation? Okay. So there are many various ways of inflation accounting, but we are going to make use of the most common one, the Fischer formula. In some books, hindi H yung makukuha yung notation. Minsan pi yung ginagamit dito or ibang symbol. But as long as defined naman siya, kung ano yung ibig sabihin, okay lang yon. So let H be the expected annual rate of inflation in the form of the compound interest. Here we do not consider methods of determining this index. And I is the interest rate without inflation accounting. Or itong I, tinatawag din natin siya na so we also call it the nominal rate. Ito, nakalagay naman siya dito. So nominal rate, it is I. So, lagay ko na rin dito ha. I, dun sa ibang book, tinatawag din to na nominal rate. R is the real rate with inflation accounting. So then, the real interest rate is determined from the equation which is called the Fischer formula. So, ito yung Fischer formula. From here, ide-derive natin yung value ni R. So, kapag ka dinerive mo yung value ni R, of course, you will end up with R is equal to 1 plus I over 1 plus H minus 1. Ita-transfer natin si 1 to the right-hand side using addition or subtraction property of equality. Which will then give you, pag sinimplify mo to, R is equal to hanapin natin ang LCD. So, 1 plus H. And then, this is 1 plus I minus 1 times 1 plus H. Which will give you R is equal to 1 plus I minus 1 minus H over 1 plus H. R is equal to, so tanggal na yung dalawang 1, matitira na lang sa'yo ay I minus H over 1 plus H. So, doon nakuha tong formula na to for the real inflation rate. Okay. So, the rate without inflation accounting, that is also called the nominal rate, is, so ito naman yung formula niya, R plus H plus R times H. So, at small values of H, kapag ka mababa yung expected annual rate of inflation, so the approximation formula is I, the nominal rate, is equal to R plus H is used. And for the real rate, it is R is equal to 1 minus H. So, kapag ka mababa yung inflation rate. Okay, this time, sagutin na natin to. Let us define the given values. So, last year, the portfolio earned a return of 3.25%. So, ito yung hindi pa kino-consider yung ating inflation accounting. So, this is the nominal rate. So, I is equal to 3.25%. Wala pang consideration ng inflation rate. Now, meron tayong inflation rate here, which is 2%. So, i-transfer muna natin sila sa decimals. We have 0.0325 and this is 0.02. So, to compute the real interest rate, dahil nga nagtaasan yung presyo, approximately by 2% inflation rate, then you will have 0.0325 minus 0.02 from this formula over 1 plus 0.02. So, let's get a calculator and compute for this value. Just wait a moment. (0.0325) minus 0.02 over 1 plus 0.02. Okay. So, the real interest rate is 0.012254901996 or approximately 0.0123. And this is just 1.23%. Di ba ang laki ng difference? Ang nominal rate mo, akala mo, yun, kumita ako ng 3.25%. So, kung nagkaroon ka ng investment na 100, meron ka ng 100, halimbawa, gawin natin 100,000. Yan. Meron ka ng 103,250. 'Di ba? Kaso, merong inflation na 2%. So, approximately, ang nag-gain mo lang talaga na interest sa kanya, imbes na 3 pesos and 25 cents for every 100. Ang katumbas lang niya sa halaga niya from that time that you invested it is just 101,230. Okay? Okay. I hope tama yung computation ko. I-ano ko nga siya. Oo, tama naman yung computation ko. So, ganito yung idea ng pagko-compute ng real interest rate. So, dun sa value niya, original value niya before, ang akala mo, nag-gain ka ng 3,250 pesos na interest. But in reality, you only gained about 101,230 kasi hindi siya sumabay. Nagkaroon ng pagtaas ng presyo ng mga bilihin at hindi sumabay yung nominal rate mo sa pagtaas. Kasi constant naman to eh. Kung ano yung nominal rate mo from before, hindi naman siya pinapasukan ng inflation rate na, kumbaga, okay, nagkaroon ng inflation rate, ako na si bangko, tataasan ko rin yung interest niya so that makaka-comply ako dun sa 3.25% na interest niya. No, hindi. So, yung interest rate na nominal, diretso yun, constant yun on most banks. So, hindi nila yun pinapasukan ng inflation. Okay? So, saan useful tong inflation? So, ito ay useful sa pagsaset ng prices. So, halimbawa, you are an establishment that will offer services. So, you are trying to use the idea of inflation, halimbawa, average inflation dun sa area mo, o kaya dun sa country mo, kung saan mo itatayo yung business, so that hindi mo kailangan na magtaas ng prices every time kasi you are prepared because of the given inflation rate on that area. So, hindi mo kailangan magtaas ng prices from time to time kasi computed mo na kayang i-withheld nung price na naset mo yung inflation. So, kahit pa magkaroon ng inflation, may profit ka pa rin. Okay? So, minsan ganito yung ginagawa pag may nagpapakompute sa akin ng inflation na kaibigan ko na nag-accounting. Kasi merong bagong service na i-offer yung company nila. So, ang gagawin namin, magre-research siya dun sa area, for example, resort. Magsa-search siya dun sa area ng mga cost ng boat ride, ng food, ng menu, ng services, and then, magko-cost accounting kami kung magkano yung aabutin ng isang tour package. Tapos, ayaw nilang magtaas ng presyo every month or every 6 months. So, yung annual na inflation rate, i-insert na namin siya sa equation. So, kahit na magkaroon ng inflation, kayang i-withheld nung given na price at magkakaroon ng consistency sa price, yung napagdesisyonan nilang price na i-offer sa market. Okay, hindi sila malulugi because of the inflation. Kahit na hindi sila magtaas ng presyo. I hope you are getting the idea. I know it is somewhat confusing. But, ang bottom line doon, because of the inflation, the value of your money or the value that you expect might not be the value or the same value over a certain period of time. Kasi nagkakaroon ng increase or paggalaw. Hindi naman yan laging increase may pagbaba rin. Nagkakaroon ng paggalaw sa presyo ng mga bilihin. Okay? Thank you very much for listening and we are going to move forward to the next lesson. Cut ko na muna siya dito.